Hi, welcome to Clitorally Speaking, the podcast. I'm Michelle Doherty.
And I'm Emily Lane.
We are BFFs dedicated to bringing you conversations between girlfriends over a bottle of wine.
Oh, I am so excited about the wine part.
Oh, me too. So pull up a chair, grab your glass,
and let's get talking.
Hey, Emily, how are you today?
Hey, Michelle. I'm really good. Despite the times, my spirits are, they're up. I've been busy. I've had some great wine. I've had some amazing walks.
Yeah, good. That sounds awesome.
So I'm doing good. Oh my God, yesterday I walked 8 miles. So I'm getting some exercise.
That's a long walk. Yeah. Did you go on an urban hike then?
Yes, I did. Oh my God, twice. So no, it's
Nice,
good.
nice.
Yeah, once with Iggy Pup in his stroller, and once with him, running as fast as he can with his little legs. So it was fun.
Yeah, I wonder if after we're all, back into quote unquote regular living, if our newfound daily walks will remain an important part of our routine,
Right. It's a good question. I hope so. Yeah, I've loved it. But for me, it's been a big part of my sanity, like just having, my own personal time.
Yeah.
It's been, I think, pretty instrumental in me staying positive and happy in this moment.
So it's interesting that you need personal time on top of the fact that we are all on like solo time and quarantine time. But
I don't have personal time because I'm, I have a partner at home and I do have an office. So I don't have alone time. And yes, though I am naturally gregarious and love social activity, like I still need time to just connect with me, so yeah. So tell me about you. How have you been?
So, staying busy around the house, trying to, keep track of the projects for the podcast, working on the minutia, if you will, the administrative things that we have to do. I'm enjoying it though, because I'm, getting to revisit other episodes and being reminded of the great wines that we've had over the last 18 months, and making notes like, oh, I need to add this to my list. And just kind of spending time here at home and going to my office once a week and checking my mail.
Yeah.
So it's harder. It's definitely, I can't say that I'm a bundle of positivity and joy. And I was having that conversation with William yesterday about it. And he said, well,
your
Mom,
son, yeah,
our listeners who are not familiar, William is my son. He said, Mom, you're always so busy. Your life has been so scheduled with things that you love to do and people you love to be around. And now you're not getting to do those things. So,
right.
It's a little harder to do it through, Zoom or FaceTime calls and stuff like that, to really miss that energy and interaction. So, so it's just harder trying to look forward to something every day so that you have a reason to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Besides, your job, I work from home, so I could just cross the hall. So something other than just that.
I think it's tricky, and this might be a good time to bring in our guest today. Our producer, Denise, is joining us in conversation. I think right now the work-life balance has been extremely disrupted, especially for those who are working at home. It's like, might as well just keep plugging away on this project, or, in that gray area of, okay, I'm done for the day. It's like the work's always around you now, so that it feels to me like that balance is just, it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know. How are you feeling about that, Denise?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. But, it's funny. I'm kind of always that way anyway. Like I just kind of am always working. And so, I hit this point where that wasn't the case and I had incorporated some work-life balance. But now I'm learning and realizing that like I am more in that space of like back where I used to be, where I'm sort of dragging things out because I know I can, like
Mhm.
instead of like I've got 8 hours and I'm going to dedicate 8 hours to working today, I'll just like continue to sit on my couch and work for 12 hours
Right.
because what else am I going to do?
You're gonna drink, do yoga, pet your cat,
Right, right,
Right.
exactly, exactly, but no, I mean, I didn't leave my apartment for 5 days last week. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, like, I didn't even walk outside my apartment for 5 days, and by the end of the week, I realized that that was the case, and I'm like, "Oh, it took me 5 days to realize that I hadn't left my little box."
Yeah. Yeah. So I know William and I have been taking advantage of the good weather the last couple days here in St. Louis. It's been absolutely beautiful and trying to prepare for the upcoming rain, the next,
Mm,
several days of rain, and working outside in the backyard and the front yard and kind of taking care of those spring, maintenance jobs that you're supposed to do that
sure.
probably the last couple of years I've sort of just overlooked it because I've just been busy.
Yeah.
So it was kind of restorative to be out there, hands in the dirt and trimming and pruning and stuff like that. But it's just different. It's just a really different time, and
Mhm.
definitely feeling the melancholy more than I would. I don't know. Is there a moon that's is there something different with the planets that is affecting it as well? Who knows? But
Yeah.
that's just kind of where we are. So hopefully
Yeah.
the listeners aren't going to be all like sad and depressed now or whatever listening to.
Well, I would love to know what our listeners are doing to keep themselves lifted at this time. So if they want to share with us via email or social media, some tips that they're embracing right now, let's share. Let's share what's working. What is working is wine. Wine works.
Wine does work,
Yeah.
although I am drinking less because I'm not going out with you every Saturday
I
and
know.
Tuesday and
Oh my
and
god,
Sundays.
my tolerance is way less than it used to be. I've had a couple of occasions where I've overdone it, wink, wink. But
Right.
my tolerance is definitely not what it was. So I suppose that's not all that bad. But so what are you drinking for our conversation? Let's talk about our wines that we're enjoying.
So I grabbed a rosé today. It's a nice, beautiful, warm day in St. Louis, and so the rosé that I grabbed is Les Caprices D'Anais.
Ooh.
It's a Bordeaux. Bordeaux. I said that last time. Bordeaux rosé. 50/50 Cab and Merlot. It's like a really nice color. It's not very pink. It's more of it's like a real
Hmm.
light
It's kind of like a cotton
salmon.
candy pink.
Yeah, possibly maybe a little more orange. It could just be the way the light is hitting it here in my room, in Studio C. It's dry. It's crisp. It's very, very easy to drink. I mean, I could probably pound this whole thing and really pay for it tomorrow, but like not even be aware because it just goes down so easy. And it is it's a 2017, and according to the internet, the price point for this is about $14. So
Hey,
I am
okay.
I am definitely staying in our target price range
Well,
from my cellar.
that's great. I am as well. In fact, I started kind of going through my cellar the other day because I'm like, I think there's some wines in here that it's just time to pull them out. So I pulled out this 2010 Bordeaux Superiere. It's like, it's time. Chateau Le Croix de Roche. And this is from the Gironde region of Bordeaux. Um, I'm very happy with this selection. I do believe that this is also, when I purchased it, was below that $15 price point. I think it was in that even like $14. So I'm not exactly sure where it sits today, but you'll see it's like, oh my God, it's like inky dark. And it has the taste profile to support that. I'm getting, on the nose, I get lots of that kind of dark, funky, dark fruit, some earth, and even some like licorice. And all of that comes through on the palate with this real real density. This is something that would hold up to some pretty rich food, I think. It's delicious. It's one of those wines that will give you Bluetooth.
Oh,
You turn your teeth purple.
why do they do that? Just
Just the
curious,
saturation of color,
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
I thought it was due to the volume of the wine that I was drinking. Maybe that's what it was more for me. Like you just saturated your body with it, Michelle.
yeah.
So, you
Do you
absorbed
ever
it.
get the wine mustache? Like,
I've had that.
I have. I will admit that I have had it. Not recently though, because I work hard at not.
would it be great if
Not
they discovered that like it prevented wrinkles around your
I
lips?
think a component in wine does do that.
the
Resveratrol or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
resveratrol. Yeah.
Nice.
Or so they say.
Right.
I mean, they'll get us to buy anything that if they say it'll take away wrinkles and stuff. I would like our listeners, if you hear like a cat that's sort of like commenting as well, that is
Yes.
Denise's darling cat who is making himself known,
He's actually
He just
right?
wants,
trying to
yeah.
escape right now. He's clawing at the front door. He's
Oh,
literally
nice.
clawing at the front door.
Because he's not been out of the apartment either for 5 days.
Yeah. And she hasn't been. So he's like, get me out of here.
Yes.
So he isn't a member of the Clitorati. He's a member of the Catarati.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
He's super happy to be a part of the show today.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
absolutely.
So when he's clawing to get out the front door, do you take him for walks around the little, in your hallway out there, or has he always been an indoor cat?
Oh, he's always been an indoor cat. This is actually, he does a great job of training me. So whenever he does that, he knows I get irritated and I'm going to get up off the couch and go chase him. And then he typically runs somewhere else in the apartment and, whatever. It's like jumps on the bed so I can pet him, or he wants
It's a
to
game.
play.
Yeah.
It's a very annoying game of scratching at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. And how old was he when he first started doing that?
I don't know.
Do you recall? It's been the whole time.
No, because along the way, I guess he started in New York. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I was in a house in Phoenix, and that's when I got him, and so there was more space to run around. And I don't feel like he did it there. I remember him doing it in New York, though. So at least 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Far too long.
It is interesting how this quarantine time is affecting our pets. Iggy Pup has always come with me everywhere. And so now when I do venture out, I don't take him because I'm nervous about exposing his fur and all that other stuff to whatever's out there. And so he is a little stir crazy. And then, I also, our schedules are so completely different that, it's upsetting. So like the other day, I took him out after a meeting, and took him to this hotel. So I had this big meeting last week, and it was choreographed at the En Garde Arts Hotel, which is where, we've done some events and whatnot. And it's a pet friendly place. So, I had my own suite and everything. So I took him with, and I was like, hey, Iggy Pup, do you want to come with? And oh my God, he was beyond excited. Like, oh my God, we get an adventure. Oh my God. And, he's been a different dog for the last couple of days because he had an adventure with me, and it was just our time together, so they're missing the lives that we used to have also.
I would think so. I think our dogs are like, when are you guys going to leave? You're here all the time, and I'm like, when are you going to quit barking at the people that are walking, because there are more people walking these days in my neighborhood than normally during the daytime when the dogs are here by themselves. So they're barking quite a bit. running. And then I was I was joking with a friend of mine because she called and she's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "The same thing I do every day. I let them in the house and I let them out of the house. I let them in the house, I let them out of the house." They are definitely driving the routine. They're like, "Get up, I have to go outside. Feed me. Now, get up off the computer because I need to go back outside." And you're just like, they drive it, the dogs. And our
Yeah.
cat Salem, he's just like, "Whatever. I found a window. I'm going to lay out there and check things out on my window."
Do you want to
my
trade
window
cats?
perch. No. No, and I don't think your cat would want to be living here either with the
You could
two
go out with the
dogs.
dogs. It'd be great. You could help them like stage the coup, scratching at the door to get out.
That would make me
Don't you
so
love
nervous.
how a lot of these humane societies around the country are adopting out all of their animals right now? It's like this time is people have seen the value in expanding their families to include a pet, and so I love that's definitely something to me that's a positive that I'm seeing out of this.
Yeah. I mean, this has been, people have had to sort of rethink how to celebrate things. I've had both of my kids, my two oldest children have had their birthdays so far in the month of April. One turned 21 and he didn't get to celebrate like how you were when you turned 21. And then some of his friends have also turned 21, and the parents have had to kind of change, how they would celebrate it. Some of them have been pretty, I think, inventive, where they had people send videos, or you could text, or you could drive by, and they had their son sitting outside with like a poster board, like one honk would be one shot, two honks would be like,
Oh,
and the three honks would be take some water, so people were sending texts to like three honks and stuff like that. So,
cute.
just to make him feel special. And it's just, things that last year at this time I was planning to go to St. Genevieve, right? And like this
Yes.
year, it's like less than 2 weeks away. And it's just going to be like, well, I guess I'll work in the yard. I
Yeah.
guess I'll sit on my front porch,
Well, maybe we'll have to have a birthday party on the show for you.
Well, yeah. I
You
mean, it's
know?
still not the same,
I know it's not. I
It's
know.
not the same. People do happy hours on Zoom and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I just wonder, what is how well, I know there's people that have had it worse, I mean, I think about Anne Frank, and she and her family had to stay in that attic, for like 2 years, and it's tiny. Have you guys been to the Anne Frank house?
I haven't. Yeah.
So in 1990, when I was studying abroad, we visited the Anne Frank house and in Amsterdam, and it is so small. I'm 5'6", and I had to crouch down, like hunch myself as we were walking through the couple rooms.
And there were
So
several families living out in
lots of
that, right?
a lot of people. I know her family was. I don't know if it was two. I don't recall that. I'm sure if any of our listeners want to, let
Yeah.
us know, remind us. But I mean, so you watch the movie and you think it's a much bigger space than the actual
Mhm.
space. And so, I know that, I have a lot of space here in my own home, and, I can separate myself from my son and be, I have space to move. So, I reflect on people like Anne Frank, or the wives and sisters and mothers who are left behind in World War II, when they're in World War I, and or any of the wars, right?
Mhm.
The Korean War. And I'm rambling a lot like Trump does right now. So I've been watching too much of that as well.
Oh my
So
god.
I'm getting my oratory tips from
Oh my
the guy.
god.
Yeah.
Maddening
I'm gonna
watching
have a
that.
drink now.
Yeah, have a drink.
Let you guys talk for a little bit.
Well, I think it's, I have to definitely take my news in small doses. I was pretty astounded the other day when in St. Louis they said they used the word indefinite when it came to our stay-at-home order, and we will reevaluate in 30 days. But just that statement of indefinite, politicians do not, unless you're Trump, do not use their words without thought, and so the fact that they tossed that out there to me was not setting an expectation of hope. And so, that is something that's really struck me.
I feel like it was more of a, I mean, what coming from somebody who's written, news stories for a couple of decades, it's hard to, I mean, I guess they could have said it differently, but, like indefinite is like they just didn't have an ending. So how do you say, I guess you could just say it's extended, but then somebody's going to ask, well, for how long? We don't know. I don't know. I mean, I agree. It's definitely did not give a lot of hope for a lot of people. I think, the county did say, they would reevaluate on the 15th. And now the city has also said that, but I don't think the city did initially, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it definitely, I think is, in a time when everybody's concerned and the future is unknown, maybe they could have handled it a little bit differently for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, I think it is important to find ways to instill hope, and I do think that that's part of a politician's job. I mean, I understand that it's important to be realistic and set expectations and be there for your constituents. But if you're giving bad news, please give us a piece of good news. We're working diligently with the government to try and make sure that our medical responders are taken care of, or whatever the message is. Give us something to feel good about. And, right now, I feel like all we're getting is the information on the tough times.
Well, I think people could probably handle, like, if we knew that there was a plan, like, okay, we know we're here. We don't know how many more months we are, but we know that the steps that everyone's taking, the government, the local, the state, the national, and it was laid out, like when the state of Missouri has, this few cases, or we've gone beyond our peak, and we've tested this many people, so there's a sense of safety, because like right now, if they were like to say, oh, whatever, just go back to what you're doing, I don't think people are just going to go back to what they're doing, because there's nothing to tell you that you're going to be okay.
Right.
Right. I think that's part of the indefinite moment. I mean, I did hear them say that, our peak is supposed to hit, I think it was the 25th or 26th. And I do work for the city station here in town. And so I write some updates for them. And, the information that we're seeing there is that the peak will be this week. So I think that was the reason for also extending, and I think that's been out there. I mean, I do probably read more than the average person in that regard, because I'm trying to stay up on it so that I can, write accurate updates and that kind of thing. But that's, what was it originally through? It was through the 25th or 26th, wasn't it? Or 22nd?
22nd.
Okay. So that's probably
April,
why
yeah.
they knew the peak was going to happen after that. And then that's why they extended.
Yeah.
But yeah, they shouldn't just assume that everyone is, being as diligent as to watch every update. I mean, it's not, some of us need a break.
Have you noticed, I don't know about you, but for me, I have to really remind myself, because we've been in this groove for over a month now. I have to remind I've almost gotten a sense of comfort in this new normal, where I'm like, no, I still have to wash my hands 25 times a day. Like, I remember to wash my hands if I've touched a door, if I've been out, and, if I've touched something I'm not familiar with where it came from. But I'm finding, just when I'm at home, I might be more casual with, oh, rub my nose or whatever. And, whereas the first few weeks, I was extremely diligent about that. So I'm finding, because I've got this temporary new normal, that I'm becoming more relaxed. And I think that is the wrong idea. Like, I still have to remind myself to not get comfortable in that.
Yeah, I don't think
know.
I've
How are
stopped
you
touching my
feeling?
face this whole episode. I think I've had a hand on my cheek or on my chin, the whole time. But I'm also, I work really hard to keep my immune system strong as well.
Right.
I mean, I know
Of course
that.
you do.
I do that side, and I also don't want to be, and even though that can give me a false sense of security, because I feel like I could, have a better shot because my immune system is healthier than somebody else. But I also don't want to be somebody who carries it either. right? And just passes it on. So, I've washed more dishes in the last month than I did in probably 2 years. So my hands are
Oh,
very
right.
clean that way. But I wonder, Emily, if you're feeling this way and you're become a little bit more relaxed at home, how many other people out there are also
Mhm.
relaxing on their diligence?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
You know
Yeah.
what I'm feeling a lot is that I think I'm becoming agoraphobic. Is that the right word? Where you're afraid to leave your house?
Oh, sure.
I mean, I haven't left
Oh,
my
I
Oh
apartment
yeah.
in
understand.
5 days, and then now when I go out, I'm just sort of like, "Okay."
Scared.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, like,
Yeah.
holding my breath at the grocery store or walking down the street, and, I mean, it really
Yeah.
that's where it kinda does a number on me, you know?
Oh, I completely understand. So yesterday I went to the grocery store for the first time since all of
Mm.
this. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna go to this grocery store in Webster Groves, which is a neighborhood out like to the west of St. Louis for our non-St. Louis listeners. And this area is still unreported as having 0 cases of COVID. So I thought I'm gonna go to that Schnucks, or the grocery store there. So, I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll get a nice little drive in. It'll, have my sunroof open. It'll be really, rejuvenating. And I pull into the Schnucks parking lot, and the parking lot is full, like
Mm.
full. There isn't a parking spot to be had. And I'm like, nope. Turned right around and I sought out, took me a while to find a grocery store that had like practically no cars in the parking lot. So I'm just flat out afraid to go anywhere where there's too many people. Yeah.
We had to Schnucks does have a really cool thing that you can check the traffic. They have a
Oh.
website where you can see like how it describes exactly what their policy is, like how many people can be in the store, how many like waiting spots. And it's like sometimes at some of the stores they'll get your name and your phone number, and you go sit back in the car, and then you'll get text message when it's your turn. But they also
Oh.
have like a whole, updated constantly. I'm going to call it an Excel spreadsheet for lack of a better words, but it's part of the web page that'll tell you like your Schnucks, how many spots are, being used and how many are available. So, if you want to look that way, to see, it was in there. It came out in a recent email that they sent out. Cause I'm sure you guys are getting emails from every company you've ever done business with in your entire life, right?
Yeah. On the
Telling you
COVID
on the
policies.
COVID policies.
Yeah.
So that's a good one not to just ignore if you go
Yeah.
back
That's good
through.
to know. I wish Trader Joe's had some process, because that's the grocery store I really miss. And all the stories I hear right now are the big lines outside to get in, and like, people cram next to each other in a line doesn't necessarily solve the problem of distancing.
Well, you have to wait 6 feet apart. I mean, I've waited in a line to get into the Home Depot, and you have to wait 6 feet, and somebody has to leave before they let you go in. And William and I have twice. Not twice, but this last time we went to Target, and we got there at the right time, because when we were walking out, a line had started to form, and they were monitoring the people coming in and out. I was like,
Mm,
"Whoa!" And we just needed dog food.
yeah.
So we really, really, really lucked out there. And we wear the masks. We do wear our
Yeah.
masks when we're out.
Which also feels to me really claustrophobic.
And if you have a face, if your phone unlocks based on your face,
Oh, yeah.
I'm having to put my code in all the time because it doesn't recognize my masked face.
I just got one of those phones a couple of weeks ago. And what's been a funny realization is that my phone doesn't recognize my morning face.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Like, it's apparently like I'm so much not a morning person that my phone's like, who is this? Who is this beast?
So if your phone doesn't recognize you, we may not recognize you in the
Right.
morning, right?
Yes.
No, but is there a time frame where like your phone, like prior to 10 a.m., it doesn't recognize you, but then at 10 a.m., boom, oh, that's Emily.
I think it's after I have my coffee.
And things settle back down.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, there she is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like trying to find little pleasures, little fun things with it. Trying to stay positive, have something to look forward to. I mean, recording this podcast is something I definitely look forward to.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, I agree.
on the weekly basis. I don't think we asked Denise what she was drinking.
Oh my
Oh,
God, you're right.
oh,
See, we're so out of our format because we're in.
no.
Well, normally we give everybody the same thing, right? But so now it's like, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a Pinot Grigio. This is from the wine merchant,
Mm-hmm.
Barone Fini, I think. This was from their, they sent out a promo before Easter, I think, it's from their Porch Pounder selection.
Nice.
It was a 6 pack for, of selected wines for like, I don't know, $45, So I'm like, oh,
Not bad.
Yeah,
it's quarantine. I don't leave
that's a
my
good
house for 5
deal.
days. You might want to load up on some porch pound and wine.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm a gig employee, so I got to go for the porch pounding right now.
I support that
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and they do a good job curating that.
Oh,
So
they do.
yeah,
Absolutely. It's very good. Yeah.
yeah, nice. Well, good. So
Well, I
I'm
know
not
that
usually a Pinot Grigio fan, so I'm glad. So what are some of the tasting notes on this one?
You know what? I'm probably not the best to ask. I don't know.
is
I've
it
never really.
good?
Yeah, it's pretty
Is
good.
it good?
I'm not a big
There you
Pinot
go.
Grigio fan either, honestly. I bought it more for the pack had some rosé and like a red that had Grenache and Syrah, and I was like, we'll just go with Pinot Grigio because it's in there. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, you could find yourself pounding it on a porch more easily.
Or just staring out my window
With your cat in your
with my
lap.
cat in my lap.
Uh,
Living in the apartment building that you live in, Denise, are you guys having to do anything extra special? Are you like letting somebody on an elevator and like traveling by itself, or like how's that working?
Interesting you say that. So, because I did leave my apartment for the first time in 5 days, went down to get my mail and pick up a package. And when I went down Friday or Saturday, there was actually a sign up outside the elevators that said, just please go one at a time if you can, obviously, unless you're living together kind of thing. And I thought that was really nice. Prior to that, though, this is kind of interesting. I was kind of freaked out and I'm like, I'm just going to take the stairs. Can't hurt, get a little exercise, right? Well, this building is really kind of funky. So I can take the stairs down one floor, and then I have to get off on that floor and walk all the way around the building to get to the next flight of stairs, which doesn't make, I mean, I'm glad I found it now and not racing in the middle of like a fire emergency or something, but you have to walk around to one of two spots to get from like the next floors all the way down. And then eventually they do go down all the way, but if you want to climb up, you can't. So, when it's weird. Like it stops at the third floor and it locks you out. So you can't, I'm like, I feel like maybe somebody should know this.
So even with a key or
yeah.
a like card or anything, you can't get back in?
No, not, I mean, you can get from the first to the
Interesting.
third, but then you can't get out on the third floor. So yeah.
So we're lucky you were able to that we're talking to you right now, because you could still be in a stairwell
I could.
and nobody
I
would
mean, I can get
know.
out. I can always get out on the first floor. So you can always, it's the opposite of the Roche Motel. You can get out, but you can't get back in. Wait, you can still get in, but you can't get
Right.
up to the third floor. Yeah. But it's so interesting.
So
Like a couple weeks ago, the elevator at my parking garage got stuck in between floors, like as I was there. And I pushed the button. It could have been me. I pushed the button and the light went off and the door never opened. And I'm like, well, that's really odd. So I did it again. It's still nothing. And I came back from,
was somebody on it?
yeah. I ran to Four Hands to,
Oh.
get some supply of hand sanitizer and provisions.
Mhm.
Beer,
Right,
vodka. I can't
right.
remember what I picked up that trip, but on the way back, yeah, the fire department was there, and the parking attendant was like, "Yeah, there's somebody stuck between the second and third floor." It's like,
Oh my God. So the other day when I was loading stuff into the On God for the meeting, I did get stuck in the elevator for a little bit. And it was with the general manager who, like, I didn't know her, and she's lovely and everything, but still, like, in this time of hypersensitivity, we are stuck in an elevator together, and it got confused and it stopped working. And I was just like, oh my God.
Sanitizer, germs, freezing.
Were you in one corner and she was in the other corner?
Definitely,
With your faces
definitely.
in the corner like bad children, not even like we don't want to talk to each other, like face each other.
Oh my
I'm
God.
out.
But it was an interesting experience because I've always kind of like, you see the movies and the stuff with people getting stuck in elevators and the people who panic and the people who don't. And I've always just thought I would handle a situation like that pretty coolly. No.
No? And you're
I
admitting
mean,
it here.
I wasn't like having a panic attack or anything, but I was definitely not cool. I was like, oh my God.
Did
Yeah.
you have to wait long before it resumed
No,
service?
we did it. We didn't. She had gotten, in fact, there was some elevator guy there already doing maintenance on the elevators. And I think the problem is that we got on one that was under maintenance.
Oh, okay.
So it was resolved fairly quickly, but still just like that moment of uncertainty, like how long are we going to be here, and all of that I think is what's terrifying,
And
and
you're
again,
like,
that, yeah.
she's breathing so loud. She's using up all the oxygen in here. How long do I let her live before I take her out so I can keep my oxygen, right? You went total Lord of the Flies.
Oh God, it's interesting to realize that, I was thankful it was resolved as quickly as it was. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I know that we are coming up on a complete quarantine CoronaTimes crisis with the number of women that are going to find themselves as brunettes and no longer blondes,
Oh,
myself
oh,
included. It
okay.
is,
I'm going to take my hat off for this because I have put this hat on for this recording to save our viewers who are watching. But I have a good inch of growth at this point. And because I am now officially over a month, I'm like 5 weeks past due. And now it's going to be another 5 weeks. And I know like
it's
hair is,
indefinite.
yeah, it's indefinite, right?
It's
But here's
indefinite.
been the surprise. So I've always been a brunette, like, I've always been a brunette.
Well, I've only known you as a
But
blonde.
right. But like my real color, I'm a brunette. What's been interesting to see because I went like during my divorce age, I went back to brunette for like a year. It was my dark phase. And I thought it was fun. Like I'll do it before grays come in and, let's just do it. And I realized that life just didn't work for me as a brunette. And a part of it's probably just because I was going through a divorce and just things are tough. But so I went back to platinum and I've been platinum most of my adult life and certainly in the last 8 years. So it's been 8 years since I've really seen my hair color. My hair is almost black now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it used to be brunette. No, it's straight up black, which
Look
is
at that.
really interesting.
Look how dark that hair is underneath there.
Yeah.
And that's just 6 weeks growth
Wow.
out.
Yeah,
And
yours is dark as
mine
well.
is very dark. And I was a towhead when I was younger and, blonde hair. And my hair started to change after I had my first child 25 years ago. And it never went back to like a pretty blonde at all. And,
Did chemo change the hair?
so chemo, my hair thinned out. Now, granted, I was still coloring it during the time, highlighting it and stuff like that. And I lost hair, right? So my hair
Yeah.
thinned out. But when it grew back, black and curly, so it looked like I had pubic hair on my head. And I was like, "Well, look at that! Yeah, that's different. Okay, I guess I'll be curly now because I have straight. I have like straight as a board hair.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
permed it when I was in high school, some early college. I mean, I don't have the luxury of the curls like Denise has, and so I was like, "Oh, finally, I'll get some curl." And that lasted 3 months, and then it went back to straight straight as a board hair. And so, I mean, I didn't have any more pubic hair on my face, so that was good.
On your face? You mean your
on
head?
my face, on my head. You're right. So that'll be a
different story.
good clip for us to use.
That's another story.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've had any of that in my face either. But
and it's going to be a little while longer.
It's going to be a lot longer. Yeah. Which, you know what, is all about acceptance. And I'm trying to accept a few things. And one is, well, you know, if you're going to test out your natural hair color, this is the kind of time to do it, because you're not seeing anybody, right?
Yeah.
No one's going to be like, oh, you've got dark hair, Michelle. And my hair's short, so it's going to grow out, and I'll be transforming every week. I'll look different on our videos.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I mean, because, you know, do you go see her? Do you hassle her? You know, do you like, please cut my hair? I mean, why would you want to put that person in jeopardy, right?
Well, and legally,
so
I mean, like right now they can't
blonde.
do it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a non-essential business. So now if they sold alcohol and cut hair, they might be able to do it.
There's a business model.
Yeah. And dressed up in plastic. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sell toilet paper, alcohol, and cut hair.
And Clorox or cleaning supplies, Lysol, something like that, right?
Which I still cannot find toilet paper. We haven't been able to find toilet paper for 3 weeks. Have you ladies have it had success?
William just found a package at Walgreens, and they had it. They didn't even have it on the shelves. They had it right out there in the front. It was like limit 1 package per customer. So that's 10 rolls. We'll be fine. Well, that'll keep us for a while. But our listeners, you know, there's ways to make that toilet paper last longer if you are having difficulty. And this was suggested to me, so I'm going to pass it on to you guys, is to keep like a little water bottle at the toilet. So almost like you're giving yourself a douche in a way.
Sure.
After every time you pee, and then you just use a towel to dry off. And then you know, that will help cut down on because women are the ones that use the most toilet paper.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're like, oh, I only have like a few rolls or 2 rolls or 1 roll and I can't find any, because that's stressful too. Like you're like, none. You go on Amazon, you know, not available till May 15th. Well,
June
that's not going to help
whatever.
me, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you're like Costco, you know, things like that. So, but that's something to think about, you know, ways to just extend it, you know.
I am officially purchasing one of those toilet seats that can be a bidet.
I have one that I bought a long time ago, but I just haven't installed it but now, you know, I'm going to, you know, go to the YouTube video, and like, it's the connecting the water line to it, you know. It's just going to take, you know, I've got time. I can figure it out.
Yeah. I've always loved the whole bidet thing. So I figure this is a good excuse. And, you know, we were talking about it, and my partner was like, oh, they're kind of expensive. And I was like, toilet paper is expensive. Like, buy 3 packs or 4 packs of this stuff and it's paid for. And that's it. So, yeah, that's going to be my quarantine investment.
The bidet, it's not that expensive.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
they can be, depending on how outrageous you get. But
right. I mean,
but yeah,
I would go for the $15 range. Emily might be like wanting to have like a little more bells and whistles.
I want like a massage and heated water. I want music to play
and some flattering comments.
Right.
Oh, you looking nice today. Your bum looks great. Oh.
And it's gonna feel great too.
I'd tap that if I could. You know, that kind of stuff. You know. You're awfully sexy. Yeah, back that ass up. Back that ass up.
Please sit on me.
That was a good, healthy flow.
As long as it doesn't do that beep, beep, beep. None of that.
Please come back again.
It was my pleasure to service you. Yeah, it'll be perfect. Get your affirmations while you're peeing, you know. You are beautiful. You are kind. You are important.
And
Yeah.
gosh darn it,
You are enough.
people like you.
Yeah. Or at least they used to when you were blonde. And there's nothing we can do about it now. They'll like you again after the quarantine times.
Oh, man.
Gosh. Well, ladies, this was
Yeah.
this is good. Thanks for chatting with me.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was great to catch up, and definitely my spirits have been lifted.
Yeah, and I think we have a really cool I know we have a really cool thing to tell our listeners about coming up for our time of the month on Wednesday, April 29th, 2020, for those who might listen to this next year. But Wednesday, April 29th will be our time of the month show, which we do a live show once a month. And we have a special guest, Dana Powell. She was in episode 8, I believe, originally in season 1, and she's an actress in Hollywood, and she is going to join us all the way from California.
That's right.
And we're gonna chit chat and talk about
Dana's just wonderful, and
she's
for those of
fun.
you who don't know her name, you will definitely recognize her. She's was a regular on Modern Family. She was also on The Good Life, and so she's just. I met her on another show that was recently released called Remotely Working. And we had such a great time with her talking on the first show, and we've all stayed in touch since that first recording. And she has a wonderful podcast as well called Rants and Raves. And so she is going to be joining us as well as her co-host, which I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to meet her.
Talk to Jessica.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
that'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. So, it'll be Wednesday, April 29th.
It'll be we'll be on Facebook, but we will also be capturing the audio for our podcast. So you can join us live on Facebook at that time, or
and it'll be released on YouTube afterwards. It won't be live at that time, but if you make an appointment, I think we're going to do it 8 p.m. Central Time, St. Louis time, on Wednesday the 29th. So we look forward to seeing everybody there. And if you have questions that you want us to talk about or answer, or have a question for Dana, just feel free to send us an email or catch us on our Insta and our Facebook page. We're everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
track us down.
Thank you for liking our page. We're excited about all of the growth there, our Facebook page. And if you could you go 5-star us
please,
on Apple Podcasts
or anywhere you listen to your podcast?
Right. But even if you listen to it on Spotify, if you would go and 5-star us on Apple Podcasts, that's just one of those rating games we play. And you're not doing anything these days, so you might have a few extra minutes to do that for us. We'd really appreciate it. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Lovely to see you guys.
Thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to the next conversation. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Ching, 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 ching.